only focusing on just like one small archetype of what great founders have in the past have looked like, you're missing out on like amazingly talented people who just maybe just never had the opportunity. If you can kind of like get out of your 20s with a clear answer to that question, you are already like well ahead. Nobody else can answer that question for you except for you, right?
Another thing that to me really stands out about your approach of building Inception Studio is that you also, of course, attract all those really successful founders with a lot of experiences, but you also work with founders at really early stages of their career, sometimes even before there's a product. So in this process, and from your experience, what qualities are you looking for from these founders besides their technical skills?
There's a set of things that we look for. So first of all, they should just be a really impressive individual. And it doesn't have to necessarily be an entrepreneurship in the past. It can be stuff like they're an Olympic level athlete, or they were like, they hit kind of a pinnacle, like, in terms of music, or just some other, it could be a different domain. It could be just something that is exceptional about this person. I think this is required for being a successful founder, right? It's like they talk about, you want to have this T-shaped expertise, right? Where it's like you're kind of broad across in these areas, but you're extremely deep. You have to be absolutely world-class in some area. It's very hard to be successful as a founder if you're just a complete generalist, especially if you're building in the AI space. You have to be autodidactic. You have to be able to learn by yourself. You have to be naturally curious because things move so quickly. And whatever knowledge you may have today will be obsolete 3 weeks from now. And so you have to basically be always learning, always growing. You have to have the right level of ambition. And if you're on a team, you have to find people who are like where the ideal situation on a team for co-founders is you have complementary skill sets, but mutual respect. It's the same as in biology. You have your gene pool. And if you have all the same DNA in your gene pool, when you get a bunch of inbreeding, and then it just leads to all traits getting accentuated, positive traits and negative traits. And you end up with something like you have a gap in there, and then a single pathogen could come and just wipe out your population, right? This same thing, right? If you have a bunch of tech bros who are just all getting together and only doing tech bro stuff, it'll be like you're going to completely miss parts of the business that are important for you to be successful. Those are not the strongest organizations. They may grow and scale initially, but then eventually they tap out or whatever, and then they run into problems then later down the road. So getting that diversity early is really important for building strong organizations. The way that we evaluate these is that we go through rounds of one-on-one interviews. This is one of the benefits of being here in Silicon Valley for 26 years now. Is like just doing this many times, helping to grow multiple companies and everything. You quickly get a sense of like, from just one-on-one interviews, really understanding people and what's their and what teams will work well together, etc. Right? And so this is what some of the intuition that we bring together in terms of filtering for Inception. I mean, I'm a big believer in the best teams are the most diverse teams. We have right now, I think Inception founders it's 24% women. Our ultimate goal is 50% at our events. I think that there are particular challenges you have for women entrepreneurs, underrepresented minorities, others that are like, they have additional challenges. Some of these issues are not easy to fix. And honestly, they're kind of like generational issues. You have to wait for some people who are in the ecosystem to retire or whatever, and then replaced by new ones. But I mean, we firmly believe that like we have many of the future leaders of an industry, both startup founders as well as people going to be investors, partners 10 years from now. I think many of them are attending our events today. So the best way to build that type of world in the future that is more representative, more diverse, and avoid some of these problems and issues that you see in Silicon Valley today is to try to get the best representation that we can have at our events. We try to have additional programs to help to encourage people who are startup curious. Maybe they are first-time entrepreneurs, but maybe they want to start a company, but they're not really sure how, and that kind of thing. And we try to have some additional programs and support for, we have a program called She Starts, which is kind of like, around women entrepreneurs, but we've also done programs for entrepreneurs in Asia, like in Japan, for example, where they have their own systemic challenges around that, and we continue to do more of those as well. Entrepreneurial talent is uniformly distributed across the world. By only focusing on just one small archetype of, well, this is what great founders have in the past have looked like, you're missing out on amazingly talented people who just maybe just never had the opportunity. And then for people who are destined to be entrepreneurs, the people who, for the good of the world, they should be starting companies, they should be an entrepreneur, because if they do, they're going to have an amazing positive impact. You want to help find and identify those people and give them a little nudge, give them some accountability and deadlines and whatever, and just help them out to fulfill their destiny. Right.
This sounds like you have built an amazing community within the Inception Studio, and on top of your many responsibilities, I know that you're also taking on this active teaching role at Stanford. So I'm just wondering, what are the motivations for you to take on this teaching role, and how has it sort of fit into your greater mission of supporting innovation in early founders?
So, like I mentioned, I was planning to be a tenured faculty. That didn't work out. But now I'm fortunate. I actually get the best of all the worlds, because I get to be an adjunct faculty, which basically means that I can just come in just for the quarter that I want to teach, and I can just teach a class, which is the part that's fun, and then I don't need to deal with bureaucracy and other committees and everything else that's associated with it. And so that's what I'm doing. I've been doing that since 2012, and then I was do that for the compilers class a few times. That was what my PhD thesis was in, so that was a lot of fun. More recently, about 3 years ago, I started to teach a new class with CS224G, so about building applications using large language models. It's like Inception within a class format. We have a similar type of ethos. The first week, you form into teams, you choose your own project, and then we run it like a startup every 2 weeks. 2 week sprints, you ship every 2 weeks. And then at the end, we have a big demo day with investors and everything, right? And so that has been a ton of fun. I get a lot out of it. I love to be plugged into the ecosystem, because Stanford's a great ecosystem, in Berkeley as well. I helped out with a class in the CS department at Berkeley as well. But just to be part of that ecosystem, there's a lot of benefit there. There is kind of developing relationships with students is a lot of fun. It's really interesting. It's not even so much I get to know who the good students are. It's like, yeah, I know that. But also, more importantly, they know who I am. Yeah. And so when I reach out to them in the future and be like, hey, remember me? I was your professor. And they'll pretty much always take the meeting. There's some real benefits from that side as well. And it provides like kind of some deadline accountability for me, right? In terms of like, okay, I need to teach these things about what is the cutting edge in LLMs and AI and developing using these. And so it forces me to, I need to fully not only understand the material, but fully internalize it in a way that I can now teach it. And now I have, there's 70 students in the class, and they're all counting on me to do this. So I'm now forced to keep up to date, learn about all of this, which I think is a great positive for me as well. So I get a ton out of it. And just to hear the testimonials from the students, I've had people tell me that this was the best class that they ever took at Stanford. Oh, wow. There's the people who said that this class completely changed my life. We had some people who like kind of dropped out. They went on leave after the class because they decided to go start a company, and they there's one example from the first iteration of the class we did. It was a team. They ended up forming a company called Grove AI. Grove is one of the dorms here, and they were kind of like, they both lived in Grove, and so they named it Grove AI. They ended up raising, I think, a $5 million round just right after the class, and then they just got acquired a couple of months ago. So I was like, yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a good example of just to see the positive impact that it has, and then that it compounds, right? Because you do these things over time. Same thing with Inception, right? We've done this a number of times, and then people from earlier, they have such a great experience, and they ends up paying off not immediately, but 1 or 2 or 3 years down the line. We've seen this happen time and time again. This is how we're able to build and sustain Inception, is because we had people there early, they had a great experience, and now they refer other great people, and they now And then that's how we've been able to grow, right? Same thing for the class. We've had students who took the class and then come back and they become a guest lecturer because they've done super well and stuff like that. Like that part becomes super exciting, and then you build this up over time. If you can do any situation where you can curate a group of really amazing people who are just highly likely to be successful, and you just provide them a little bit of space and community and support, then they're gonna end up going to great things, and then you will have been there at the beginning or the early part of your journey, and then you can kind of like you end up getting great benefits from that far down the road. Right. I think that's one of the big learnings that I have just from kind of early in my career to now, just like the importance of that aspect.
That has been incredibly insightful. And before we end, I just wanted to ask for a single piece of most important advice that you will give to either researchers, students, or early founders are out there who might want to take a leap into the entrepreneurial world.
I think the most important piece is actually know yourself and know what you know what you want to do, right? This is the superpower that you can unlock. This early in your career, don't try to just design your perfect resume. Just spend some time to figure out what you actually want, because there are a surprising number of people that even when they hit their 40s or 50s, and if you ask them honestly, what actually makes you excited that is going to be fulfilling to your life? A sad number of people do not have an honest, clear answer to that question, right? And so if you can kind of like get out of your 20s with a clear answer to that question, you are already well ahead. You're in really good shape. And it's really hard. And when you're in school, everything is set out for you, right? And it's a lot of times it'll be like, well, I'm going to the school because my parents told me I should go to this school. This is what's expected from me, whatever, right? That's not where actual fulfillment and happiness comes from, right? But knowing yourself becomes really, really important, right? But once you do, then you can actually orient what your actions and stuff towards achieving that goal of ultimately self-fulfillment and happiness. And for myself personally, it took a while to figure that out, but then after I was able to figure that out, then that was what really unlocked my full potential there. And so just figure out what it is you want to do, and so don't listen to anybody else. Nobody else can answer that question for you except for you. And so this is very much just kind of like a discovering about yourself. Try different things, you can learn actually don't really like that thing, even though I thought I would, or other people expected me to, but I don't. I actually like this, right? Learning that about yourself becomes a superpower, right? And that's the major unlock, right? This is what college is about, is exploring that, about you're becoming your own person and you're becoming this independent from anyone else. And who do you want that person to be, right? Again, there's no right the only right answer is the one that is true and authentic to yourself. So let's just focus on that.
That's a perfect place to end this interview. And so for whoever is watching, if you're interested in learning more about Inception Studio, please check out inceptionstudio.org, and of course visit Berkeley Summer House website to see how we're building spaces for students and early founders.